from an impact event. So all this stuff is lining up perfectly to this time about 13,000 years ago. And the coolest part is when we started flying into the air and started looking down at the ground from above, and we found these. What are these? Craters? How deep do you think a crater like that would be? By the way, one of them is about a mile wide.
Got him.
How deep would they be?
A mile.
Yes.
0.5 miles deep.
1 foot. So we were walking on top of them. Some of these, I don't know if you can see those lines. Those are from farms, from crops, people planting on these things. You could literally be walking through the forest and step over a 1 foot tall ledge, and you'd be stepping over the rim of a crater and walking in it and never know. And we only discovered these when we started to do laser scans of the surface.
LiDAR.
A LiDAR.
Yeah, I want you to do that here.
Do you know?
I don't know.
It's expensive.
But you can see,
Is it really high up?
here's a valley.
Okay.
Right, and each one of these is 1 mile wide, so that kind of gives you the context there. But what do you notice about all of these craters? They all have something in common. They're all oval. They're all oval, which means that whatever hit came at an angle. What else do you notice?
It's in a shotgun pattern,
Oh, they're all kind of like
close together.
lines.
They're pointing in the same direction, right?
Yeah.
So we found these in all of these places, and all of them are pointed towards Hudson Bay and Greenland. All of them angle that direction. And what's more, when we actually found these, we started to sample the edges of the craters, and we found that there was material that dated back to about 13,000 years ago, and it had all those impact proxies in it still. So here's our impact. Should we be able to find the crater for the object that entered the atmosphere? As of when all this research was done, we had not found it, unfortunately. But we found it 2 months ago.
When was the research started again?
2007. So, all right, here is Earth. And zooming in here, so the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs impacted somewhere around here near the Yucatan.
Part of it's in the ocean and part of it's in Yucatan.
And I don't know exactly what to look for to find it for y'all right now, but maybe if we have time when we're done, we can look at it. But let's look for a minute at why, to answer your question about why it would cool the climate. Okay. So we have an impact coming from Greenland. It rains death and destruction down upon North America especially. But when that happened, all of Canada was covered in like 2 miles of ice. Okay? Now what can you tell me about our climate in Tennessee and the #1 thing that gives us a warmer climate with more moisture?
Jet stream.
The ocean. The what?
I said the jet stream.
Well, the jet stream is in
Yeah.
the sky. But we have
I'll know
oceanic
what it
convection
is.
currents, right?
Yep.
And they are caused by an uneven heating of the equator, making water
You're right.
flow on the surface warm, carrying warm water up this way and up this way. And then from the poles, cold water circulating down. So it's like a conveyor belt. It's flowing constantly.
That's where the
I
crater is.
wonder why they didn't start research until 2007, because I remember reading about Shoemaker Levy 9 like a long time ago, and that could have been catastrophic, and it just kind of just brushed off. And then there was another event where I can't remember what it was called, but there was like an asteroid that came closer to the Earth than the Moon in like the early 2000s, but like before 2000, I think it was like 2005, and like this.
I think part of the reason is it scares people.
Yeah, I mean, and I know it'd take probably more than 2 years to really get the research set up, but still, like, it has I forgot the name of it. It's like a couple of numbers, and that's what the name of it is, and it's supposed to do another relay in the next 200 years.
Well,
And it's supposed to come even closer, which is a little bit disconcerting.
Anyway, I just want to play this situation out for you guys. So impact event up here, rains, superheated, ejected down, melts that ice cap. All this water that was ice, trillions of tons of ice, gets dumped into the ocean. And when that cold, fresh water gets dumped into the ocean, it disrupts the ocean conveyor belt. The Earth can no longer cycle the heat around, cools the climate down substantially. And the comet crater, or the asteroid crater, is in Greenland. And it is.
Is it that indent right there that looks like a heart?
Right here.
Oh, no. Okay. That'd be kind of cool too, if it looked like a heart. You're really wrong.
Right here. They call it the Hiawatha crater, and we found it by using ground penetrating radar, ice penetrating
GPR.
radar. And what they found was the crater is about this big,
I can see it.
and it has drainages, ancient drainages that go this direction, back when there wasn't as much ice. And the dating isn't like super secure yet, because they only found it 2 months ago, but the oldest ice that they found is about 13,000 years old. They
Hit
haven't found
3D.
any ice older than that. So that would,
Oh, how can you age ice?
you can age ice with oxygen isotopes. There's 2 different types of oxygen you can find freely in the atmosphere and the water of Earth. Oxygen 16 and 18. Oxygen 18 has 2 more neutrons, so it's a little heavier. And so what happens is it will settle down into areas, and when we have times of colder climate, you find more dense concentrations of that in the oceans, and because all of the other stuff evaporates and is locked up in ice on the continents. But it has to do with oxygen isotopes. And that's one of the ways that we know we can kind of put together ancient climates with the Greenland ice cores. That and carbon dioxide are the 2 big ones that we get from water anyway. Because this happened basically yesterday. This happened 13,000 years ago. It changed the world forever. It happened in basically a single afternoon, and we're still seeing the impacts of it today. It's the reason why we have the animals that we do in this part of the world, why all the elephants and things died from North America, why the horses disappeared, and why there's a huge crash in the human population. Humans disappeared from California for 1,000 years after this happened. And we know that because we looked at quarries where they harvested things to make arrowheads and spear tips and stuff. And they just stopped being used for like 1,000 years. And today, what's even more interesting is as this ice continues to melt back as our climate heats up, we are finding ancient artifacts with people that lived there when it wasn't covered in ice. We're finding fully intact spear tips, atlatl spears, all sorts of stuff, which tells us the planet used to be hotter than it is right now, and that it cooled off drastically, enough to make other glaciers. Pretty cool. Do you guys have any questions or anything more?
So it's the Chesapeake Bay crater. It's partly on land. You should go and use Google Earth there. It is
Chesapeake Bay crater?
basically partly in the water, and it basically said it could be seen from like 8 states, basically.
Do you know if you can see it from space?
Probably with LiDAR you could.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to see it from Google Earth.
I read something recently that I think in like the 2020s NASA's going to launch a new satellite that's specifically supposed to track near-Earth asteroids and near-Earth comets. I feel like that would be really difficult though because the Oort cloud supposedly surrounds it as a sphere. It's like, I mean, that'd be very hard to track all.
You know what the real scary thing is?
I don't know how.
True. No, I
You know, I feel like that'd be really, I think it's really fun.
You never know.
We've got a blind spot too. We can't see stuff coming from behind the sun. So there could be something right there. It would be
Never.
obvious that we just
We'd never know it.
I mean, some people, there's even like an idea, which I mean, I know they're not going to do it because I mean, this would make things harder that they were going to try to